Aloha, December 13th, 2017, and I wanted to give you guys an update on the weather. And also, I just thought Dane here did a weather update and global alert, so I wanted to
cover up the
listen to
tracks
him.
of the climate engineers. That's what they're paid to do. They are betraying populations in the web of life. Here's some answers. Let me give some answers for what this report didn't give. The ridiculously resilient ridge is a direct result of, again, global network of ionosphere heaters like HARP, like the HARP facility in Alaska. These installations can and are creating massive high pressure zones. When the massively powerful radio frequency microwave transmissions, millions of watts, are focused on regions of the upper atmosphere, specifically the ionosphere, the transmissions cause an electrical chain reaction in the ionosphere, which radically heats that layer. The expanding bubble of heated atmosphere pushes up and down. The downward push is the creation of the high-pressure dome. This is not speculation. The U.S. military has long since admitted to the existence of such facilities. The stated purpose of heating the atmosphere and creating the expanding regions I just covered is this: to create resistance to a potential incoming ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, and thus to reportedly defend against it. But the blatantly obvious climate modification use is never mentioned. What else do the high pressure zones allow the weather makers to do? These zones allow them to steer the upper level wind currents, the jet stream. Why would they want to do that, many ask? The upper level winds are the key to steering and controlling the weather. That's exactly what they're doing. Back to the ridiculously resilient ridge in California. This ionosphere heater induced high pressure dome spins clockwise in the atmosphere like a giant gear in the climate system. The jet stream must spin around it, up and over it, and then back down in the lower 48 states further to the east of the fried and dried West Coast. This creates a massive dip in the jet stream. Welcome to the recently named polar vortex. This is how this is constructed. The climate science communities make up the terms as they go in order to cover the tracks of the climate engineers and to give legitimacy to the newly created scenarios that are directly related to climate engineering. By the way, this includes the naming of about 12 new clouds that apparently never existed before. When you give a name to the cloud, like undulatus apparatus, sounds very official, sounds very natural and scientific, even though it's a result of climate engineering. The population accepts that and thus is all too happy to stay in their denial, not noticing the otherworldly skies above their heads every day with jet aircraft spewing toxic aerosols into the sky to modify the climate. Now, to connect all that I've just described to so-called Winter Storm Benji, which was just engineered to bring a small shot of patented chemically ice-nucleated snow to the most populated regions of the U.S. and the East Coast. This snow is created with moisture drawn straight from the record warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. How does that work out exactly? Here's how. The jet stream spins clockwise, as I stated. In the western U.S., jet stream goes up and around that, rotates it back downward around a counterclockwise rotating low pressure zone. Again, high and low pressure zones created with ionosphere heaters and aerosol operations. This low pressure zone spins counterclockwise. So picture a fan on the front of a car with a fan belt spinning around various wheels, and that's exactly what you have happening with the jet stream. Spinning up and over the high pressure in the west, back down, spinning counterclockwise around the low pressure, like a gear, with a fan belt around it. That low pressure picks up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and that moisture is then streamed up through the southeast along the east coast of the U.S. The moisture is then saturated with patented chemical ice-nucleating elements. And you can search this on geoengineeringwatch.org, by the way. Search geoengineeringwatch.org, chemical ice nucleation for weather modification, or geoengineeringwatch.org, engineering winter snowstorms, etc. But the chemical ice-nucleating elements.
Okay, so that is what he was talking about, and I just thought that was something you should hear because he's describing what I'm showing you. Except I want you to see this right here. There is a beam shooting across here, and then you'll notice that the dry areas pick up right after it. So wait for it. There it is. And now watch what happens. Yep. and it goes all the way across here. So this is pushing that up. Notice there's nothing pushing it up this way today, just coming in this way at this angle. And you'll see that beam come across, and then you'll see this heat up. And all this being pushed down, just like he said. So I wanted you to see that. Also, I'm sure that you could tell what these are. And they're blocking the water to California again. And so that was something I wanted to show you. Here they're making a square off of Hawaii. That's a scalar square, so that they bring this big stuff down here and then flip it back up that way. That's how it's going to go. And they just keep doing that, and it blocks the water from California. Meanwhile, they're sending all of this across Texas for their winter storms. And on the other map, you can see clearly what these are down here. And so that's their program. All that you see pretty much is geoengineering happening. And they just create this square area down here. And I think even on IntelliCast, I could see it right over this area here. Let's see if we can you see a square right off of that? That square right there? That's a scalar square as well. There's two of them, I think. One up here and then another one right there. That's why you have these straight edges, which are not in weather. Although in 2017 they'll probably come out with a straight edge cloud. I'm sure they probably already have a name for it. So I just wanted to update you on that, show you what's happening. They're blocking the weather. I'm just not going to sit here and watch it and then let it keep going without talking about it. So there it is. You can see exactly what's happening. They just bring it in, they bring it down, they spin it up, and that is your report and your update. I hope you guys are all staying safe, and I just want you to be aware. You can even see the scalar activity in this area. I was pointing it out earlier, that rounded edge there. That's that dome he talked about. It's being put there so that it blocks all the water to California. And I haven't been feeling well, so I haven't been posting. And there were pulses today. I didn't capture them. I couldn't see them, but I know they happened. You can see they're activating the particles in this area right here. That's the white digi that you see. And all of this seems like it has some kind of activation in it. I guess just spiraling it to create the pressure in order to get the other one to spin around this way and go back up here. And you can see the red again over California and the little digi lines. And if we look in Hawaii, let's see if I can get that for you. You can see it more prevalent right here. You'll see the red. There it is. So it's like a big screen over all of us, and they just turn on certain sections. And this concerns me because they haven't updated it, and it should be dark right now, and the last feed is only showing the daylight. So they're doing something, you guys. I'm not sure what it is, but they certainly are not updating the NextSat satellites to the current feed. So I just want you to be aware of that as well, which means they're doing something they don't want us to see. But this is the most recent one right here. So that's your report. Stay safe. And the fires are definitely burning in California. Oh, and this one right here, you can see the beams shooting out to push that weather down. So, okay, that's your report. And stay safe. Weather's being manipulated in California. You're going to keep having a lot more fires until somebody stops this.